Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all the latest gaming news. And it may have just been confirmed that the PS5 has yet another highly anticipated exclusive in development by one of PlayStation's most coveted studios. This should be expected, but I think fans are really going to like what's in development. It's only the beginning of the generation, but we're already starting to see a very solid lineup from PlayStation, and we're going to go over all of that today. Also, Xbox fixed a huge mistake after royally messing up last week. I still don't really know what they were thinking, but at the end of the day, they at least fixed it, so we're going to talk about that as well. As always, though, we have plenty of other things to talk about, and I think we got some interesting topics today. And to start things off, let's talk about a new game that releases on January 26th, CyberShadow. So this is a great looking game, and we've actually talked about this one a few times this month on the channel because this is a day one Xbox Game Pass title. Yeah, CyberShadow launches right into Xbox Game Pass, and frankly, it looks like a lot of fun. Pretty much as soon as this game was revealed last year at a Nintendo Indie Direct, I've been curious about this game ever since. I'm digging the retro art style, and it seems to play similar to the old Ninja Gaiden games. That's certainly a good game to be inspired by, but the question, is this actually a good game, or is it just promising with little substance? Well, the good news is based off early reviews, it looks pretty good. It doesn't have many reviews yet, but it currently has an 84 overall score on Metacritic. Really, after watching some more videos on it today though, this game looks even better than what I had originally thought, and I did have high hopes for this one. It actually appears to be a very challenging game and possibly an even better overall game than the old Ninja Gaidens, thanks to some quality of life changes. If anything, if you like these old school action platformers, then I think this is going to be a must play. Again, it's a day one launch title for Xbox Game Pass, however it's also available on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and PC. I know Nintendo fans really like The Messenger, and this could be the next big hit for fans of that game. Definitely check out CyberShadow. Also, here's some really exciting news. For over a decade, I have heard fans beg for a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game. And even on this channel, I have seen countless comments of fans requesting a new title for this adored RPG franchise. These are often considered to be among the best Star Wars games of all time, and fans obviously want them to return. Knights of the Old Republic 2 released way back in 2004, so it's been a long wait. The problem though is that EA never really seemed to have pushed for it, and BioWare seems to have moved on to other franchises. Then you have Obsidian Entertainment, and they're now owned by Microsoft, so the chances of that happening was extremely low unless Xbox and Electronic Arts could somehow work something out. It just seemed like a chance for a legitimate third title was unlikely to happen as long as EA held on to the exclusive rights for the Star Wars franchise. This is all the more reason that fans were overjoyed when news broke that EA no longer holds those exclusive Star Wars rights. So fans got some good news a few weeks ago when Ubisoft announced a brand new Star Wars game, and now KOTOR fans finally have something to look forward to as well. After all of these years later, fans' requests may have finally been answered. There are now some new reports that a third KOTOR is in development. This is coming from a Star Wars Insider Bespin bulletin. In a recent B.O.B. the podcast, he said that he had heard that a new KOTOR is in development somewhere. What makes this leak so interesting though is that Jason Schreier is a part of this leak as well. Of course, he is one of the most reliable insiders in the industry, so this might actually end up happening. Jason Schreier, however, is saying that this next game is not coming from Electronic Arts, and we will never guess the studio that's working on it. So if there was any hope that Obsidian is working on this game, it doesn't sound like that's the situation. I know they did a phenomenal job on a sequel years ago, but Jason makes it sound as if this is not an obvious studio to work on the franchise. The two most obvious would have been BioWare or Obsidian, considering they did work on the originals, so we can probably rule those out. I will ask you though, if you were to choose a studio for KOTOR 3, who would it be and why? Nonetheless, I hope you Star Wars fans are happy. It's been a really good year for Star Wars fans so far. Next up, let's talk about CyberPunk 2077. There's a good chance that you may have noticed a rather large update for CyberPunk over the weekend. Well, that's because they just released their first big patch, and this is only part one of their massive updates to fix a number of its well-documented issues. Their plans remain the same, where they push out one big update in January, followed by another large update next month. Now, hopefully these fix the majority of its issues, but unfortunately this first patch probably wasn't as smooth as CD Projekt Red was hoping for. While it did fix a lot of its problems, it however introduced a rather serious game-breaking bug that you might want to be aware of. Fans unfortunately have run into a new bug that is associated with the main quest line that will halt all progress if encountered. I don't know how widespread this issue is, but in the mission down on the street, Takamura does not start the conversation that he's supposed to. This unfortunately keeps you from progressing any further, and from what I'm hearing, you can't simply go back to a previous checkpoint and fix the problem. CD Projekt Red, however, did post a workaround that you can try for the time being, and they are working on a hotfix. I expect this hotfix to be out pretty quick as this is more of a serious bug. For the time being though, you might want to approach that specific mission cautiously, but we are getting one step closer to hopefully a better overall game. Moving on, let's talk about PlayStation. Last year was a great year for PlayStation fans as several high-profile exclusives released for the PlayStation 4, and I think the one that really surprised fans the most was Ghost of Tsushima. Now, we've seen Sucker Punch make some really good games in the past, such as Sly Cooper and Infamous, but it seems like they really took that next step with Ghost of Tsushima. I'm telling you, this game is absolutely gorgeous, and honestly, if you play it on the PS5, it's essentially a next-generation game. You can actually play it in high graphics mode at 60 frames per second thanks to PS5 Boost mode. It looks insanely good, and I would even say it might be the best looking game out visually right now. It's also a really fun game with its combat system. You're always unlocking new abilities and fighting stances, and if you prefer to play it as a stealth-based game, you can absolutely do that. Now, I thought the story could have been a little bit better, but overall there's a good reason fans have been enjoying this game so much. Sucker Punch really proved that they are one of PlayStation's top-tier studios, which is saying a lot considering the talent that Sony has. And that's why you might like to hear it sounds like Sucker Punch is working on a sequel to the Game of the Year candidate, Ghost of Tsushima. Now, the first reports of this started to come out earlier this month as Sucker Punch posted some job listings that suggested that they are still working on Ghost of Tsushima in some shape or form. There was a lot of speculation over all that, but now the creative cinematic director, Dave Malloy, had posted something very interesting over on his LinkedIn page. On his page, he stated that he's presently working on a Ghost of Tsushima game for Sony PS5. Yeah, it clearly said the PS5 and not the PS4, so that rules out the idea of this just being an outdated post on his page. Well, fans immediately noticed this, creating a lot of buzz online, and since then he has removed that statement. It's done too late though. The news is already out there as the internet doesn't simply forget, so the question now is, what is this Ghost of Tsushima game for the PS5? And really, I think that there are three different scenarios here. The first of which, this could simply just be a PS5 remaster of sorts for the original Ghost, but I don't think that's the case. As I already pointed out, this game runs on the PS5 Boost mode, giving you both high graphics at 60 frames per second, which essentially makes it a great looking PS5 title. So no, I don't think this is a PS5 remaster. There's not really a lot more that they can do with this game unless you want to add something to it like ray tracing. Now, maybe they're working on some more multiplayer content. They did release Legends last year, so maybe they're planning to release more content like that. I can't rule that one out, but honestly, I don't think it'd be overly surprising to get a full-on sequel. This was a very successful game and one of Sony's best-selling new IPs. It sold 2.4 million copies in just its first 3 days, and fans seem to absolutely love this game. They could easily continue to grow this franchise with that type of success. Also, can you imagine what Sucker Punch can do with this franchise, building it from the ground up with the PS5 in mind? It's going to look absolutely spectacular. With that said, I know it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, and you can mark this one down as a rumor until we get some kind of confirmation, but early signs do point at Sucker Punch working on a new Ghost of Tsushima. Let me know what you think about all that. Would you be excited to play a new Ghost of Tsushima for the PlayStation 5? Now, something that we talked about last Friday was that whole Xbox Live Gold mess. For whatever reason, Microsoft decided it was a good idea to double the price of Xbox Live Gold. Clearly, fans were not happy about all this, and it was trending on Twitter all day long. It created a huge outcry, and rightfully so. This was an indefensible move by Microsoft. As I said last week, it was incomprehensible, and it made 0 sense whatsoever. I don't know what they were expecting with this announcement, but thankfully, after gamers voiced their opinion, Xbox decided to reverse their decision and keep Xbox Live Gold at its original price for $60 for 12 months. They also finally announced that it will no longer be required to have a gold subscription in order to play free-to-play games online. That's big news, and it finally happened. This has been a hot topic for years, and Xbox finally decided to tear down the barrier for free-to-play games. This without a doubt makes Xbox Series S a great deal in terms of consoles if you want to play free-to-play games such as Fortnite and Apex Legends. It's been a long time coming, but I think Xbox is now doing everything right across the board. This whole Xbox Live Gold mess, though, happened in less than 24 hours last Friday. This was one of the quickest turnarounds that I've seen in the game industry. It kind of goes to show you that this is a brand new Xbox team, and they listen to their fans. They're not going to have a similar situation as the Xbox One launch did, and all the controversy that surrounded that. So I think this was a fantastic response from Xbox. They could have easily been stubborn about this decision, as we've seen with some big companies. They did the right thing here though, so I applaud them for fixing this issue. I know some fans will still criticize them for even attempting to increase the price of gold when it's obviously not worth it, but at the end of the day, they didn't do it. I've also seen some conspiracy theories about this whole thing, and it was just some kind of PR stunt, but that's not the case either. They had already sent out 6-month $60 subscription cards to retailers. They're not going to do that if it was just a PR stunt. There was some actual planning here, and I do imagine that was to transition Xbox Live Gold subscribers to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is their future. That just wasn't the right direction to take. Instead of trying to force their Xbox Live Gold subscribers to move over to Xbox Game Pass, they need to instead do that organically, and because it's such an amazing subscription, I think they'll certainly reach their goal in time. They already have more than 15 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers, and once they start to release some of their first-party games in the Game Pass, that will increase a lot more. I mean, they have 23 studios now, so it's going to get a lot more content this generation, and word of mouth will certainly increase along with that. Microsoft just needs to be patient here, but again, I'm happy they reversed their decision for Xbox Live Gold pricing. There was just nothing good that would have came from that decision. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.